Okay.
Okay.
Goldilocks, the security cameras. What's that for? Or I guess where did y'all put cameras at?
Trustee, which page are you?
I'm on page 9.
Okay, those are for the pump station. They go on for the pump station, which, Matt, can you give a little bit more detail as to that?
Yeah, Chris, I got it. I got it, Chris. Trustee, that's for the pump station and also the elevated tanks. That's a grant that myself and Ron put in for with the Cook County. What we do is we pay out for all the materials and then they reimburse us after the job is complete. We show them the receipts and the paid for check, and then Cook County issues us the amount back. We just have to pay for it first. It was like the ComEd grant we got last year with some of the signs and all that. We pay for them and then they reimburse us.
Okay. Okay, that answers my questions. I kind of understand the other stuff.
Some items on this list I would not be in favor of paying, and I don't know if the board will feel the same way, but if the board refuses to pay them, seeing that these items were already, well, does not vote to pay them, but these items have already been cashed, what would be our next steps? So those are my two questions. Now I'll open it up for any board members that have questions that if we can answer them now, we will. And if not, we will seek answers on the 16th. So, Attorney Murphy, I think you may have had a comment.
If there's checks there are payments that have been made to people that were not authorized, we would have to put those people on notice, demand return of the payment. And, we'd have to cost benefit it naturally and see if we may have to take legal action to get that money back, to claw it back.
Okay. Is there any recourse against the individuals who either authorized or issued that payment?
If it's an employee, there's potential disciplinary action.
Okay.
Beyond that, I don't have enough facts to talk about if there was something, illicit.
Okay. Well, and that's why I say those are the questions that I think are going to, that I have. So I will say that I think they're going to come up. But I'll ask for comments from the board.
Well, I got a couple things. My main question is what he just hinted on a little bit. Who authorized the payment, Chris, for these checks to be cut manual?
So I'm going to talk in general terms, non-specific transactions, and I'm only speaking in general terms, not specific vendors. So in general terms, some of these transactions already have, I want to say, like third-party board action. So like some of the larger dollar amounts, the board has already discussed and through other actions approved those payments. Like some of them are for the TIFs, which I've spoken with some of you earlier, in which you guys through email consensus had voted to approve those payments. So then there's ones like your guys' general liability, third-party administrator renewal. Once he runs out of cash because he handles your workers' comp and those types of things, once he handles that situation, you guys have already given them the authority to refund it so that you guys can continue paying workers' comp claims and those types of things out. So those general large dollar amounts, you guys have already authorized in general, since you've given them authority to send those payments. Otherwise, those items won't happen. Then there's the secondary level, is the village does have in their policy that department heads have 1,000, I think. Then there's the next level of 5,000 where it can be approved by village, by the village.
By the village who?
Let me, I have to look to see who specifically is named in the policy as having the $5,000 authority. I don't have the exact title at the top of my head, trustee. I can look into it and get you an answer for the next meeting.
Okay, the reason why I'm asking because you handle the money. So you telling me you don't know who you answer to when it's time to cut a check of whether it's Janice, whether it's Elizabeth, or the mayor. Who signs off on these checks? Hold on. Who signs off on these checks to be cut? Not what you just said. We understand the stuff that's supposed to come out, but I'm talking about the stuff that you're not naming. For instance, we said we're not paying Perkowski and Sons tree services, right? But you guys still took it upon yourselves to pay them, put it on this list where the board don't see it, and y'all still pushed it through after the board said no. So that's what my issues come in at. This warrant list right here is $1.3 million of money that the board saw some of it and sit in half of it. We don't even know what happened. So that's what my problem come at, because then y'all put this in front of us and want us to vote on it, but yet y'all paid them already. So please explain to me what you expect us to do. If they already paid, why are we approving something that you guys already took upon yourselves to pay? That's my question. And I keep asking, who authorized this? Who? It's like everybody's scared to say the name. If the mayor authorizes, say it. If Elizabeth authorizes, say it. If Janice authorizes, say it. Who did it? That's all I want to know.
Oh, Chris, did you have a comment or?
Yes, trustee. Prior to Elizabeth joining, being brought back to the village, the person who would stand in the position of Elizabeth was Janice. So usually the two people who are on that authority level as to the 5,000 are Elizabeth and Janice. Those are the ones who, when I look at POs for inputting, the two people whose signatory based on from when we were brought in for the purposes of handling the village's billing, the two people who you have the authority in that sense of the 5,000 threshold would be Elizabeth and Janice for regular billing, as to those are the two people who usually sign all of the POs for the 5,000 threshold.
Okay,
so those are the.
No, go ahead.
If I can too, Trustee, I want to kind of chime in there too. I think if I'm hearing your question correctly, so correct me if I'm wrong, Trustee Henyard, the main question would be, when you're doing your research for February 16th, there's going to be some items and we want to know who authorized those. So that way we're not speaking in general. We want to know and I think that it may not be worth everyone on there, like you mentioned, insurance and stuff. I don't think there's any dispute, but I would encourage board members, any items that are on there that you're in disagreement on or want further clarity, let Chris know what those items, and then on the 16th, we can have a specific answer versus information. And I'll say this for me, I received it on Thursday, and I think this is a lot to take in. So I want to make sure that the board and residents are aware of it. And we owe I think some answers need to be had. But Trustee Henyard, did I sum that up? Do you have further question on it, or I didn't want to?
Yeah, I just don't want him seeing the stuff that still on here that we did not approve. Because there's things on here that never came across the board, but yet it got paid. So half of the time, and this is why I always speak on mismanagement of village funds, because now the current administration is mismanaging money because board don't see it to approve it. But yet we get the burden of it's our fault. No, the trustees do not know. The trustees had no knowledge that you guys were sending out manual checks. So I just want to make it really clear of why we go back and forth over the bills, because money being spent without board approval. That's it. Thanks.
Okay. Any further comment there?
So,
yeah,
I do have one question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Trustee.
Trustee Holmes.
Okay, so
yeah, I do have a question. Chris.
Yes.
You know, at any given time, I know you're going over these documents before the board meeting. I have watched you. I have listened to you. I just want to know the same thing. Why don't you come out with a complete answer about who approved this? And I got to agree with the trustee and then the other trustee. You never say who approved this, and you know who approves it, and it comes through your desk, and it's on your desk. And I'm 100% for sure you know who approved this as of now. We keep having to prolong this to the next meeting, then we're talking about something else, and then it's like you think we're going to forget about the questions that have been asked, when all you have to do, which you know now, is just come out and say who approved it, and then we're done with that.
Tiffany Henyard threw a bash this weekend. She's trying to silence her critics amidst an ongoing federal investigation into her spending and leadership. And it is as investigative reporter Ben Bradley found, like many of Henyard's events, taxpayers are left footing some of the bill.
Hey guys, The supermayor took to social media to promote her party. There was a bounce house, skating, and a food giveaway.
But I spend my own money to make sure that I put on for my city. I'm always put my money where my mouth is.
Henyard said she paid after trustees refused. They're trying to control her spending and were skittish because the event was advertised as the Friends of Tiffany Henyard Picnic. That's also the name of her campaign fund. Her lawyer denies it was a political event, but it's clear the bash was meant to bolster Henyard's image as she faces a federal investigation into her spending in Dalton, where she's the mayor, and Thornton Township, where she's the supervisor.
And for those that don't know, let me make sure I'm crystal clear about this. I ain't never took a damn thing in my life. So I want to make sure y'all hear it out of my mouth.
Let's start with the party's location. It was held at a skating rink Henyard commissioned in Dalton with an initial estimated cost of $269,000. WGN Investigates had to sue Dalton to get Henyard's administration to release credit card records, and we noticed a $17,000 charge to a roller skate wholesaler.
I'm thinking that's for the roller skates that the residents never got a chance to use.
Dalton trustee Tammy Brown says Henyard's rink doesn't keep regular hours. Skycam 9 flew over on a beautiful Friday evening, and no one was there.
It's only open when she's there or she's having an event.
At Tuesday night's meeting, trustee Andrew Holmes resurfaced. The Henyard ally is under investigation after a village employee accused him of sexual assault on a taxpayer-funded trip to Las Vegas. He denies wrongdoing and defends Henyard's leadership.
If it's anything that was criminally done, it would be out there. So children are having fun, the families are having fun, and things are getting done.
This was in the box. We got greens. We got greens, beans, potatoes, you name it. Look at that.
Henyard frequently promotes the township's food pantry, but she's been accused of distributing the boxes with campaign messages. The Greater Chicago Food Depository performed a spot check Tuesday and reminded the township its food can't be used to promote a politician.
None of that food comes from the Chicago Food Depository, so they called us about your fake complaints the other day. We already got all that straight.
That's Keith Price, who runs the food pantry. He tells WGN Investigates the food boxes came from township surplus.
But y'all missing the biggest point. You got people like myself that care about community that people try to stop. People will always try to stop things they cannot control. That's what it's all about. Someone young, vibrant, energetic like myself, who cannot and will not be bought, is the one that's constantly moving forward.
Henyard has frequently been accused of mixing political and public money. Those newly obtained spending records show Dalton taxpayers footed the bill for more than $8,000 worth of hotel rooms during an event for Henyard's namesake cancer charity last year. The charity has now been shut down by the Illinois Attorney General.
God wanted me to lead the people. God knew that I wouldn't take no mess. He knew that I would stand strong in the fire for you.
The dysfunction in Dalton grows as trustees opposed to Henyard wrestle for control. The housing director says he's been locked out of computer systems, and there are questions about who currently has access to the village's bank accounts. Trustees opposed to Henyard say they're working to cobble together a budget that will begin to dig Dalton out of a multi-million-dollar deficit. Ben Bradley, WGN Investigates.